All right, we are live. Hashtag RTP Right to Play. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining this conversation wherever you're watching, whether it be on Facebook or on Instagram or Twitter. We want to welcome you and thank you so much for taking time out of your evening to be with us. I'm honored to be by two special people. You can't see my arms right here. One over here, one over here. Kayla Alexander and Casey Bannerman. Thank you so much for joining us. Casey B, we'll start off with you. A quick intro. Tell us who you are, what you do, and where we would see your work.
Hey, well, first off, it's such an honor to be joined by you guys. I feel like the third wheel. You guys are so amazing. I'm I'm an artist. I do all different types of art, but I do a lot of work in the NBA. I've done some work in soccer, and then with CBC with doing their sports as well. Yeah, so that's a little bit about me. You can see my work online, Casey underscore Bannerman. Sorry.
He's got so many plugs. He's like, let me just get this one straight.
Yeah,
okay. And
yeah.
Here's another familiar face, Kayla Alexander. I mean, we all know you because you represent and put on for our country. But there you go, Team Canada. But another thing I think that we are so thrilled to learn about and to really recognize that you do is you are deep in these art streets as well. An author, but I'll let you take it away and talk to us about who you are and what you do.
So I'm Kayla, and I'm just honored to be here with you guys too because Casey is so talented and you're amazing. I play basketball professionally in the WNBA, overseas, and for Team Canada. But when I'm not playing, I love being creative and drawing. So I was lucky enough to publish a children's book called The Magic of Basketball with my sister, where I created all the illustrations. And I also love to do art and be creative in my free time. So for me, if you ever want to check it out, you can just go to my Instagram at KJAlexander40.
I mean, it's one of those things where, when I'm in the sports space, it's hard to deny just how the two go hand in hand, sports and art. But let's back up a little bit because I would like to talk about how you both became involved with Right to Play. Casey, we'll start with you.
Yeah. So when I was, it was when I was 18, 19. So something like 11, 12 years ago. I'm dating myself. I went to a country called Benin, which is on the west coast of Africa, sort of in between Nigeria and Togo. I went there to I took a year off from high school before going to university. And while I was there, I saw Right to Play was very active there. And from there on out, it's always been something that I've been very passionate about. It's great to be involved with it now.
And Kayla?
So I actually got exposed to Right to Play most recently in February. So right after Team Canada, we were in Belgium, we qualified for the Olympics. I jumped on a plane right after that, went straight to Dakar, Senegal, and I spent 3 days there with Team Canada, the government of Canada. Justin Trudeau was there, which is pretty cool. And they were there just working with their youth. So I got to help and put on 2 clinics. And during those clinics, we were just talking about the power of sports and teaching life skills through using the game of basketball. So it was an incredible experience. And after that, I was like, I just have to get involved because I love what they're doing, not just here in Canada, but in the world around us. So.
Yeah, I mean, certainly there's something to be said for empowering kids to kind of be leaders in their own right, doing that through sport, but interesting enough, also through art. Guys, I mean, you talk about your trip, Kayla. This was before COVID-19, thankfully, right? And now we're kind of in a time where we are stuck at home. I'm in the corner of my house right here, and you're trying to find a routine to give you some normalcy. So for both of you, how have you both used art to really get you through such a trying time?
Casey, you want to take the lead?
Yeah, sure. I'll go first. I can't live without doing art. It gets me through everything. I feel like this has been said so many times, but I don't think that, this is a joke, obviously, but I don't think that my life changed super drastically. I spend a lot of time indoors drawing. So for that, I use that to express my emotions of what's going on, not only with COVID, but also with BLM, also with, just anything that's going on. I mean, those are obviously the two main things that are taking over the news cycle right now. But whenever something happens, the way that I express myself is through drawing, sort of translating my emotions gracefully, or sometimes with all my drafts ungracefully that don't, show up. But sometimes I get it and I show it to the public. And that's how I've been coping with COVID, is doing a lot of drawing.
Yeah, we definitely, as you touched on it, are going through two pandemics right now, of course,
Absolutely.
COVID-19 and, just seeing everything that's going on with anti-Black racism. So Kayla, how are you, continue with your day-to-day, finding a way and finding your safe spots to land?
So for me, before basketball ever entered the picture, I was always like Kayla the artist. My parents always joked that they never found me without like a paper and pencil as a kid. So for me, it's always been an escape and a way to just unwind, relax, and express myself too. I remember when I was younger, I was super shy. I didn't really like to talk to kids, but through art, that was a way to start a conversation, because kids would see me drawing, they'd be like, "What's that?" And I just open up the door to meet new people. But with respect to everything with COVID-19, it definitely changed up my schedule a bit, because I was so used to training pretty much twice a day, and that got shut down. But this time actually allowed me the opportunity to learn a new skill. So with my art, most recently, I like to do it digitally with Procreate on my iPad.
Yeah.
Right. But so I also have that app, Kayla, but I'm not as good as either one of y'all. So
it is life changing. When I first started with it, I was like, this is weird. I'm so used to paper and pencil, but after a while, I can't go back.
Yeah, I love it.
Through the app, though, they have this, this opportunity to create animations. And I've always been intrigued by that. So I've been trying to teach myself how to do little animations and GIFs. So I've been trying to be creative and try to take advantage of this extra time that I have during COVID. And then also, like Casey, using my creativity to bring awareness, especially with everything that's going on with this racial injustice that's taking place in the world right now.
Fine tuning. And, the one thing that's so beautiful with art is I feel as though it helps to give you not only a platform, but to help open doors. So Casey, in your career, how has art helped open doors for you?
That's an interesting question. I think that I just don't know any other way to express myself. I don't want to, reiterate my previous statement too much, but I think that I try and take my mind out of it as much as I can whenever I'm making art. I just sort of put my Apple Pencil, Procreate, and sketch away and see what comes out. And I think by just letting my heart lead in things, that has, opened doors that way. I mean, it's not a typical career path to be drawing, basketball players for a living, but it just felt right, and that's what I did. And I knew that was one of my biggest passions. Obviously, you can see all the other stuff I do, be it comic books or music and stuff like that. So I just led that way, and I feel like just by being genuine in my art, that connected with people. I've always thought that if I like it, there's definitely a bunch of people out there who like it as well. It could be a niche group, it could be a big group, but there will be people.
Well, the people that like your stuff happen to be some pretty cool people, right?
Yeah.
And stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe you could just tell us some athletes that you've worked with in the past, or things that you've done around the NBA with your art.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started. I would say that I started professionally when the Raptors put on their Art of the North event, and I was one of the selected artists. There were a few of us from Toronto, all excellent artists. And then from that, I made a Fred VanVleet piece where the head was split and there was some money coming out of it, bet on yourself. And Fred reached out to me, and since then we've been doing a lot of work together. I have some designs coming up with his clothing line. We're always bouncing ideas off of each other, he and his team and I. And then I've done work. You might have seen my work, the jewelry that I did for Pascal Siakam for his first. I made a memory pendant for him, myself and a jeweler called Shuli. for his first All-Star selection. I've been down in Philly doing another art show, some work with O'Shea Brissett, John Morant. There was a little small job there. So you know what, I feel like a kid. It's a lot of fun.
And it's important that you say that too, because I feel like, you know, looking at my career, when you work with something you love and you do something that you love, it does not really feel like work, really. And Kayla, with your experience with basketball, yes, it's given you platforms and it's opened so many doors. I'm wondering how art has opened doors for you, as that was technically your first love.
Yeah, I'd say it's opened the door to the community to work with our youth and give back to our youth. I've been pretty fortunate with the WNBA. They've always worked with me for the teams I've been playing on. Usually we have like camp days, or we have like a booklet, like activity booklet that we give out to the kids. And in there I always get to create some coloring pages. So I've always enjoyed that. And then just cool opportunities like this with Right to Play, where I could create an illustration, have kids join in and create as well, and create their own art. So anything that involves giving back to the community and getting involved with their youth, I'm always here for that.
Well, it's interesting, Casey, you bring up Pascal Siakam, who is a Right to Play ambassador.
Yeah.
Even more interesting that you bring up your challenge. So could you talk a little bit about your challenge and how you're hoping to get kids involved and how they can get involved?
Okay, so for me, I'm day 8 of the challenge for the RTP Play It Forward. That's hashtag. And for my challenge, it's called the Best Self or My Best Self Selfie Challenge. And all kids have to do is get creative. They can paint it, they can draw it, use whatever medium they'd like, and just create a self-portrait of themselves. And it can be all the things that make them uniquely themselves, whether it's their passions, things that excite them, what makes them them. And it's then a picture, take a picture with it, and then just upload it. And if you tag me, I'll repost your images on my social media pages. So I'm really excited to see what people come up with.
So make sure you tag Kayla and use the hashtag RTP right, or play it hashtag RTP Play It Forward. Guess who talks for a living, right? Kayla, it's very interesting that your challenge is so focused on how we see ourselves. Why did you decide to kind of create something like that? And why is it so important to have kids kind of go out there, talk and really put out there what they see of themselves? You know, we talk about self-esteem, right? And having and opening that door for parents who are going to help with these challenges, with that conversation around self-esteem.
Yeah, I just think it's important that kids like enjoy who they are and have that self-esteem and are confident in who they are. I think that we're all different. We all look different. God gave us different hair, different personalities, different features, and I think those should be celebrated. And so I hope that with this art challenge, that kids will take the time to actually appreciate all the things that make them unique and different, and celebrate that and put that into their illustrations.
And Casey, it's interesting because when I look through your work, you draw people and how you kind of see them. And what comes across in your work is just really like heroic. It's just this heroic energy. I know it's cartoon style, but there's a strength there. There is something that is just screams strength, and people that are sure of themselves, and hard work, and it's just kind of like out of this world. I'm wondering where you get that kind of inspiration from when you're drawing other people.
So to me, there is nothing closer to Superman's costume as a fan. Right? Like as a fan, there's nothing closer to Superman's costume than a basketball uniform and getting out there and playing professionally. That speaks to me personally because I'm such a big fan of basketball. But if you're a fan of hockey, I'm sure you feel the same way about a hockey uniform or you know, football uniform or whatever it is. I'd like to show strength because that's what they're conveying on the court. You know, you have to be deliberate. You have to be sure of yourself. But that's just one angle of it. You know, I'm sort of working on other things behind the scenes because I think that while that's a great thing to convey in art, also there are moments of uncertainty. There are moments of
vulnerability,
and those moments are really, really important too to build who you are, right? Because without those moments, you don't have the moments of being deliberate or being sure. So that stuff, you know, it's coming out, but I want to be, I just want to convey it the way I want to convey it. So they're sort of hiding on my drafts. But yeah, so it's just a lot to do with the superheroes, and to me that's the cape.
There's, I would argue, or, agree with you rather, that, yeah, there is a superhero power and vulnerability, which is so important as we talk about mental health moving forward. What's interesting is, you bring up strength, and I think that ties into resilience. Maybe both of you can kind of give me some examples where art has saved you at times or has helped you get through tough times.
I would say that it completely saved me. I'm somebody who just 2 years ago, I was going through major mental health problems. I was doing a job that I didn't like. I didn't know where I was sort of fitting in. And I think I was just too nervous to make art the center of my world. I wasn't sure if I knew if I didn't show it to anybody, then I couldn't be let down.
Yeah.
So by leaning on it, art completely empowered me, and it transformed me into, while at this core I'm the same person, I feel like a much more genuine version of myself. Art I always turn to whenever I need to express myself.
I feel like for me, sports was my safe place. I had a really inconsistent upbringing with homes that I was living in, and sports for me was the constant. But there's something so beautiful of being able finally to stand in your truth. So I commend you for that. Kayla, for you, how has art helped save you?
I think most recently, with everything that's been going on with racial injustice, I created this little illustration for Black Lives Matter, and I turned it into a GIF. And for me, it was a way to just relax a bit, because with everything else going on, it was really getting to me, and I saw that I was being affected, because even my parents and my family, they're like, Kayla, like, what's going on with you? Like, you're not yourself. And I was like, it's the world that we're living in right now. It's gotten to me. But through my art, I was able to just decompress a bit, get my thoughts together. And when I posted it, it created a conversation, and people reached out, and it opened the door for education and sharing how I was feeling about what was going on, how it was affecting me, and how it's been affecting other people in the world as well. So I'm thankful that art sometimes creates a platform or a way to start conversations that are important, that we need to have with each other.
I'm a parent, and I know that there's parents probably on here right now, though my kid's probably a little bit too young to fully express himself through art. What tips would you give parents who are doing this challenge with their kids when it comes to working with and encouraging their kids to express themselves through art?
For me, the first thing I would say is just encourage them. Encourage them to have fun with it. It's not about being perfect. It's not about comparing their art to other people's art. It's just about expressing yourself, and whatever comes out, comes out. I don't think there's a right and wrong way to do it when it comes to art. It's a form of creativity, and there's no rules, which is what makes art so great, and why it's so inclusive. Anybody can take it. Use different mediums, there's different styles. That's what makes art so amazing. So I just say encourage them to just start, just to create something, and no matter what they create, just applaud it, and just get them excited about it, because at the end of the day, we're all different, and we create in different ways and express ourselves in different ways. So.
Casey?
Yeah, I would say that's why children's art is so compelling, because it's so devoid of any of those rules or any of those, this is the way you're supposed to do it. So I think by, not to just say the same thing that Kay said, but, by just saying, applauding them for their chances, encouraging these, I remember when I was a kid, I drew a horse that was green. And I think it was because I heard somebody say a horse was green, which apparently, I don't know anything about horses, but apparently that means that it's new, it's untrained or something. So I was like, oh, they have a green horse. Right. I remember my teacher telling me oh, no, horses are brown or white or something. I was like, oh, okay.
He said, not my horse.
Yeah. But instead of doing that, maybe we could just come in and say, that's an awesome green horse. Yes. I love green horses, Yes. But yeah, that's why I love kids' art. I don't know if you guys have ever seen those people who take children's art and then they redraw it.
No.
No? Oh, it's the best. So a professional artist dad, I think, he took his son or his daughter's art, and then he redrew it, and it was like some of his most interesting work because it had the mastery of maybe the dad who's a professional artist, but it had all of the imagination of the kid.
Wow.
I mean, that's something we can never have, is the imagination of these kids.
No. Kayla, I want to ask you, when you're putting together your book, what is the most challenging thing? What did you, because that takes some time. As much as people are like, it's a kid's book, kids' books are hard to get right, and you've succeeded in that. What challenges did you run into?
Honestly, the whole thing was a challenge. Okay, I know, like with basketball, like I understand that it takes like years to develop that skill, but I guess because I've been in it for so long, I didn't understand like all the hard work. Well, I knew it, but it was different. Like when I came to and tried to create this children's book, I was like, this is hard. Like first I had to try and create a rough draft, and I created numerous rough drafts, brought it to my sister, who I think is very gifted when it comes to putting words together. And she's brutally honest. So she'd tell me, okay, no, I don't like that. I don't like that. Go do it again. And I was like, okay. So go back and try it again. And then after that, creating the illustrations, like doing the research, like, okay, what dimensions should the dimensions and the quality of the images, actually taking the time to create the illustrations, making sure the character looks consistent throughout the entire book. Like that part in itself was challenging.
Yeah.
And then trying to figure out how to actually publish the book. So the whole ordeal was challenging, but it was so exciting to actually take something that was an idea in my head and now have like a physical copy in my hands. Like it's really, it's so fulfilling. So yeah, I just encourage anybody out there, if you have an idea, go for it. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be a bit of a challenge, but it makes it that much more rewarding when you actually complete it and get it done.
It's the labor of love. Casey, how long do your drawings usually take?
It depends. That's such a boring answer, but sometimes it can take 12 hours if I'm doing all the backgrounds and stuff like that. They've gone up from there, but you get lost in them. I'm sure, Kay, you feel the same way. You just you completely zone out. List or sometimes I watch those little highlight reels with the music behind them to get, if I want to get amped to do something that's really exciting and has a lot of energy. So sometimes 12 hours, but it feels like half an hour. It just it's gone. Yeah.
All right, here's my boring, typical question, but I'm really interested to find out from both of you. Where do you find your inspiration?
Oh.
For me personally, I just find it in the world around me. Like I find it in the movements that are taking place right now, or in a stylish outfit my sister's wearing, or something that my friend says, or something that takes place on the court. It varies, but I think just life in general always inspires me. And then one of my favorite places to be when I'm trying to look for more or to be inspired more is just getting lost in nature. So I feel like nature is a perfect example of creativity and diversity and beauty. So whenever I need that little extra spark of imagination, creativity, I love going into nature and just observing like God's creation. But I think that is where I got my inspiration.
Okay, Casey, maybe we'll ask this question from Danielle. What inspired you to start drawing sports teams?
The stories, all of the stories that were not necessarily happening directly on the court, you know. Be it Pascal Siakam going to basketball without borders, you know, when he was 16 years old and making it to the NBA, or any of those stories that are behind the scenes. I think that when I really decided was when I saw actually Open Gym done by yeah, and then when they peeked open, you know, they drew back the curtains a bit, and you could see like, hey, these are all these like incredible stories. I remember one where Rudy Gay got traded, and I was like, wow. Sometimes you just don't think about the impact. Obviously you do, of somebody getting traded like that, and how that changes their life, and you know how that might affect even their self-esteem. And I wanted to show that, and I think that that's why I turned to sports teams.
Who is your favorite player growing up?
I mean, you know, he retired today, Vince Carter. I know.
Right on time.
I know, Vince Carter for sure. I had his Tai Chis. I left them out in the rain and they bled. I had the red and white ones. So they were like light red and pink. I still wore them everywhere. Yeah, probably Vince Carter. Yeah, but let's just leave it up to it's his day. Let's
Well,
give it to him.
we'll give VC his flowers for today.
Yeah.
Kayla, what is your perfect subject to draw? I know that you said nature is where you draw your inspiration, but do you have a favorite subject that you draw? I know you do a lot of animations of people. Is that kind of what you enjoy drawing, or do you draw other things as well?
Definitely people, and I love fashion. And for the longest time, especially when I was younger, like it was hard to find clothes that fit me that were cute. So I'd always be so envious of all my friends walking around in all these cute outfits. I was like, I can't wear that; it doesn't fit me. So to get that out of my system, I would actually draw all the outfits that I wish I had. And to this day, I'm still drawing a lot, drawing like fashionable outfits, different hairstyles, just the diversity, I guess, that we see in the people and the lives around us. So
everybody listen, because Kayla is a mogul out here. She has her hands in all the bags. So I wouldn't be shocked if she's about to drop a clothing line. You heard it here first.
Yeah, all I could do is draw. You're out there playing basketball, clothes.
She's versatile. Okay, Casey.
Wow.
So let's talk about projects on the go. Casey, what do you have that coming out next that we can look out for?
I've been working on, I can't say the player quite yet, but I've been working on a comic book that's, he and I are working together to tell his story. That's about as much as I can say, because we don't know when it's going to drop or anything.
You must work in TV.
Yeah, I know, right? And that's the major projects on the go right now. Yeah.
Kayla, are we going to see another book?
Yes, definitely working on another one. I also have another book that I got to co-author alongside 10 other Canadian women in basketball, from like athletes, coaches, player agents, and people in media. It's called Woman for the Win, and that's out now on Amazon if you guys are interested. But I also just want to point out, Casey, I love that with his art, it's not just like on paper or like a poster. It's a tattoo, it's clothing,
tattoos, shirts,
books,
masks.
Like, everything. I'm here for this.
And your masks are sold out.
You got to syndicate, guys. My masks are not sold out, but they're selling so well that I don't even have my own right now.
There it is.
So I was very gracious by how well they did. So you can still get them on my website.
Okay, I was going to say, where can we find them if we can still order them?
I like to keep it simple, so it's just CaseyBannerman.com. Yeah, they're all still available for now. They sold out twice before. So get them while you can.
And Kayla, where can we get your book?
You can get The Magic of Basketball, Women for the Win, all on my website, KaylaAlexander.net, or on Amazon. And on my website, I also sell digital prints for download and custom illustrations if you're interested.
It's just amazing to see how art, I mean, I know it's part of your day-to-day. It's almost as if it's what you breathe as well, but just how far it's taken the both of you in your careers. If you could give any aspiring artist right now listening to you on this Facebook Live any type of advice to just keep going, what would it be?
I guess I'll start. I have 2 pieces of advice. The first one would be to just start, because you never know your impact or the opportunities if you keep it hidden to yourself, you don't try. So just start. That's the beginning. Just take the first step. And then 2, which I think is a big one, don't compare yourself to other people. Like, we're all different. We all have different styles. We all have different journeys that we go on. And some of us, we take longer before we are seen by others. And some of us, we just overnight success. So be gracious with yourself and don't compare yourself to others, but enjoy the journey that you're on with your art.
Comparison is the thief of joy.
That is so true.
Mm-hmm. Casey, what would you say?
Yeah, I would definitely say, I just want to say it again, don't compare yourself to others. Everybody's on their own path, and you'll end up where you're supposed to be if you just let yourself go with the flow of the way things are going. I definitely, speaking to my own experience, not trying is worse than not. Just try.
Yeah.
I didn't articulate that properly, but definitely try, because if you don't try, that's the worst feeling. You'll never know. Be honest with yourself though, and practice a lot and master the skills. I mean, don't compare yourself to others, but be honest with where you are and how you want to get better, and how many hours you're willing to put in to master that craft. I mean, and I think that's the way for me. It's a lot like basketball, you know, or like sports, is that it's about a mastery of a craft, but expressing yourself and doing it your way.
Amazing. All right. Hashtag RTP Play It Forward. Kayla, we're going to be hitting up your Twitter. What's your Twitter address?
KJALEXAN 40. So KJ Alexander 40.
So as you start the challenge, which starts right now, be sure to hit up Kayla on Twitter to show her your drawings, your kids' drawings, as we continue to help try to make a difference to this initiative. I want to thank you both, Casey and Kayla, for joining us today and really sharing your insights and sharing your passion with the world. You guys inspire people more than you know, I think, and I really appreciate you guys taking the time.
Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it.
And to everyone at home that's tuning in and had joined us for this evening, we also want to say thank you so much. We're going to have plenty more conversations coming up as well. So be sure to tune in. Hashtag RTP Play It Forward. Thank you guys so much for your time.